So
Okay, I had no idea.
how
That is
did
actually hard.
How to Train Your Dragon, the first one? I think it came out 2013.
No, dude. How to Train Your
Okay.
Dragon 2 was 2014.
The first one, the first one.
Nigga, huh?
Bro, as in, if the second one came out in 2014, how's the first one coming out in 2013?
20. I said 2013.
How
Yeah.
to Train Your Dragon came out in 2010, dog.
2010.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, Google says 2010, bro.
Nice,
My
nice.
guy, we're old as fuck, my nigga.
So,
My
what do you
nigga.
guys think about the first one?
Because when we watched that shit in the movies, though.
What do you guys think about the first one?
Bruh. I think from my memory, right, it's gold as hell, bro. I'm sorry. Like, it tingled my childish aspirations and dreams. It taught me about magic. And that's what DreamWorks is about. It's about magic, my guy, you know?
Yeah.
And the magic was in my eyes. Ain't nobody told me that I could train my dragon. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like that TV show where I forgot what it's called. They say, I wish with all my heart to fly with the dragons to the land of.
Oh! Dragon Tales!
Dragon
That
Tales,
show.
Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales! Yeah, that's the motherfucker. Yeah. So it's not like Dragon Tales. Dragon Tales was more like, it was like Teletubbies. You know what I mean? It's like, it's for kids. You know what I mean? It's a kids show. But like How to Train Your Dragons, I think it was like one of those mini movies in the time of 2010 that were like kind of a coming of age type of thing. They took you from the crowd, the kindergarten small pen that you're like raised in, and then they kind of like exposed you a little bit to like the harsh reality of things. Niggas die, you know what I mean? Like if you're gonna play with a dragon, it will burn you unless, you know what I mean? So, and like there's hard choices that need to be made. Your father is not gonna agree with you, and you need to like stand out of that. So I feel like it was very relatable for like a preteen or like a young teenager in that sense, because it still taught you to like imagine.
Exactly.
Plot wise, I have no problems with it. It went from start to finish and it was dope. Like the huge ass motherfucking dragon that almost killed Hiccup and Toothless. That nigga was hard, bro. I hear that. Bro, the deep ass voice, like that roar, bro. It was just like, damn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, bro. Part one was gold.
And
It's
then
like
Phil?
almost S tier, to be honest. Almost. I'm not saying.
What's your opinion on the film? The first one?
Oh no, fucking goated, dog.
Glory.
Yes, sir.
Goated.
Goated. Oh,
Goated.
okay.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those ones that perfected the awkward that kind of awkward hero that you kind of get picked up, right? Most of the times I fucking hate those guys. Jesus fucking Christ. No, here's the thing. The reason why I hate them is because I feel like they are manufactured to this thing, to manipulate our emotions, trying to tap into that thing of us wanting to root for the fucking underdog, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I see that. Okay.
I always feel manipulated with those characters, but the thing with Hiccup is it's not necessarily that. And the best part about it is that whole awkward nerdy thing is it's not something that he grows out of, but it also isn't his central character. It isn't his central draw.
Deep. That's actually tough, actually. You're absolutely right. And I actually never thought of it in that perspective, actually, because like so many of these characters, they have to like try to cater to so many different types of stereotypes. Sorry, so many different types of groups of people. You have to make a movie appealing to everybody for it to sell.
Exactly.
And so that's why a lot of the times these guys are manufactured. But like what you're telling me is that, okay, this thing is awkward as hell, but like he can train dragons, bro, and like he's got dreams and aspirations, and none of his awkwardness is some crutch or some character trait that's too pivotal. It's more like a quirk. It could literally be the same guy with a different set of characteristics and different set of quirks, and it would still be enjoyable. But the fact that he's got this particular quirk makes him amicable in one way or another. I fuck with that heavy, Phil. I
Mm.
never thought of that. Okay.
And I feel like another leading factor that makes it so fucking great is because of the contrast between Hiccup and his father, right?
Yeah.
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 Yo,
Stoic divine.
yo,
No nigga.
know what the fuck
Yeah.
is that, dog? It's just that thing of I wouldn't say I have daddy issues, but when Stoic tells Hiccup he's proud of that shit just
You
fucking
feel that, bro? You're like, dang. Oh my god. Thank you so much. I've been trying so hard. I haven't been getting any bitches. I didn't really feel like a man recently.
Yeah.
Telling you now.
Here's the thing.
Did
Like
you
the first time, what's called one of the first scenes of Stoic is just him trying to tell Hiccup, "Hey, look, you soft as fuck, my boy, and you are not gonna survive in this world if you keep going the way you're going." And he points at all of them and says, "You can't be this nigga, dog. You can't be." And then when Stoic goes out of his hunt and comes back, and everybody's talking about Hiccup and how great he is, Stoic is like, "My boy, my son."
My guy.
He did
Then
that.
he asked Hiccup is doing this, and he's so fucking proud of them. And when Hiccup gets that first affirmation of his dad being proud of him, he isn't exactly happy about it because it's fake as fuck.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fake as fuck. It doesn't feel earned to him because he feels like he's fucking cheating. And then later in the movie, when despite Hiccup not being able to fulfill this thing, despite Hiccup not being able to follow in the footsteps of Stoic the Vast, he finds his own way to do things to accomplish this thing, to accomplish his goal. And when his dad says he's proud of him for that, that is immaculate. That is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
My guy.
Like with the
It's
first movie,
goated as
it was
fuck,
just
bro.
that story of the boy who felt outcasted from the tribe being finally let in. And not because he changed who he is, but because he allowed his strengths to take shape.
Exactly. I think that pretty much sums up
Beautiful shit, bro.
the first film. I feel the movie perfectly lays out anything for the future, being disparity between Hiccup and his father. Number 2 being Astrid's relationship with Hiccup. Number 3 being the relationship between Hiccup and not only Toothless, but every other dragon, being that he kind of understands, or he's willing to take the first step to try and understand every dragon. Number 4
True.
being, I think it was less talked about, but the position his mother took in his life was very much hinted towards in the film. So I greatly appreciate how much it sets up the second one. And with that, we go into the second one,
Interesting.
which is the common topic for today. So Abe, what's your take on the second film?
See, this one does this all the time. He says something super interesting and then he just segues into something else. I don't know how part one. No, like facts. I don't know how part one perfectly sets up the mother in part two. Like, maybe my memory is not serving me properly, but like I remember it being like, oh hey, your mama did is here, and you know this, so I don't need to talk about it too much. And then like they move on.
Yes.
Like, help me understand how the mom was like segued into it.
I think it's very much a thing of like, there's a certain mystery towards it being, your mother died because of a dragon, right? So that sets up the character of Stoic, being that you can tell why he doesn't love dragons, right? At the end
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that one.
Okay.
But they've been beefing with dragons.
Yeah, but like it's more hard.
That's like honestly, that just sounds like Stoic's 13th reason why he hates dragons.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
feel like that
yeah,
But
age
don't you
yeah.
think
reasoning
it
is not
applies
that
to his
important.
character? The reason why he's not
I think it does
as
actually.
the reason as to why he's not as that what's the word I'm looking for? He's not as connected to Hiccup as he is because the mother died. No,
Nah,
it's not one of
I
the
would,
reasons.
I would actually
no,
agree with Lissova
it's
on this
just
one
that thing
actually.
of Hiccup being unable to fulfill that role of the stereotypically masculine Viking that's around them.
No,
I
but no, I see how you feel it. I see how you taking it, Phil. But I actually want to agree with Lissova on this one. I feel like, especially in part two, right? The mom says you have the soul of a dragon and the heart of a chief. Basically, whenever Hiccup's dad tried to talk to Hiccup, and like really like try to like connect with him, there's obviously that divide between father and son that like permeates every generation, honestly. But the fact that he's also so much like his mother in some respects, and his mother has a soul of a dragon, there
exactly.
could be hints, not explicit hints, but like subtle implicit hints of that kind of a divide. If Hiccup was the Vikingest of all Vikings, Stoic and Hiccup would go very well together. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
because he has so much of his mother, and Stoic can see that inside his son, it might hurt him a little bit to say, hey, look, your mom didn't survive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Your mom didn't survive, and this is how she was. A Viking who survives is a Viking a little bit more like me, or a little bit more like your uncle, or every other Viking villager. You know what I mean? So he's coming from a place of actual pain. And Stoic is actually a very caring person. He's a person who loves so much. So he's like, bro, I see you and I see you trying to be yourself. But on this path of you being soft, I see a lot in your mother in you, and it hurts me. I'm gonna try and get you off that track because I want you to survive. But there's parts of me that hurt seeing you because you remind me so much about your mother. I
I
I
think
think I
yeah,
agree with Lissova.
it's very much a thing of like it was set up within the first film, being that there's hints to that, and the second film kind of delves deeper into that. Like yo, if between the relationship between Stoic and Hiccup is very much. Yes, I agree with what you're saying, Phil. Like, yeah, there's this thing of he's not a typical Viking, but I feel like the fact that his mother was not there actually counts towards the relationship.
Okay, but
I
then
kind
there's
of
also
get what
something
you
else. Okay, now, okay, so Lissova asked me how I liked what's his name, How to Train Your Dragon 2. And watching it obviously the second time, I realized the most used word by the villain was what? Like,
What?
that's literally all he said. Like, no,
Really?
like he literally said what? I'm telling you, watch the movie one more time. The villain most used word was just what? Like he was surprised the entire way, bro. Like the moment he saw Hiccup, he's like,
Yo,
what? The moment he
actually,
saw he's like, what? Like
actually,
when the
bro.
dragon started doing something, he's like, what? Like it was like surprise after surprise after surprise. I swear, watch that movie again. Man was just like shook the entire time.
Actually,
And
I remember like
it's
the scene where
funny
Kit Harington's character, he goes up to him and he's like, "Yo, there's other
to talk
dragon
about.
riders," and then he's like, "What, bro?" I'm oh,
Oh shit, Kit Harington was in
Right,
this.
exactly.
yo.
Exactly.
Ah,
For
to
real?
be fair,
Who
like
does he voice?
some voice actors, it's just I don't know your voice. It's not that recognizable.
No, he was
Exactly.
he was in
Yeah, he
this.
was
Exactly.
Eric. He was Eric, I think.
Yeah, he was.
The muscly strong man that was, what's his name? That was making tough nut soon.
Yeah,
Basically. Yeah. He was an interesting character, I guess. Like, I love how. Okay, for me, I feel like part two was about change in the same way part one was about change. Everybody from Burke went from being a person who was about murder and fighting because you're scared to accepting change and then growing through it. And then that change was now kind of eating its way into new people. And this time it was different. Part one was we're resisting the change because we're afraid. But then part two is like we're I'm resisting the change because I want I'm actually comfortable with where I am. I
Yeah.
love what I'm doing right now. I'm not in fear. I'm in a place of power. And that's what the villain was. The villain was surprised, saying what the entire time, because he's like, the world is changing around me, but like, I like my world.
I
I
don't want
like
to
the
change.
fact that I am the alpha. I literally piss and like I have Levithians trembling. You know what I mean? And so he was refusing. Yeah. And so whenever Hiccup was trying to like be too diplomatic and like talk to him and say, "Oh, hey, bro, look, realize this. There's other people out here. We're all trying to be like friends now. Like let's not fight it." He's like, "Nah, fuck this. Okay, I'm a king. You can't take that away from me." You know what I mean? So yeah, I like how this nigga Tough Knot also changed. He was also like, okay, there's this kind of MO that I'm working with, and I work for this guy. He's kind of a piece of shit, but like I still have like my affiliations. And then him almost dying and being saved by Snotlout. Is it Snotlout? What's the name of
Stormfly.
Astra's dragon? Stormfly. Yeah, yeah. So him being saved by Stormfly, he was like, oh shit, okay, dragons are actually cool. You know what I mean? So
And I love how there's like a
yeah,
layer
man,
of like there's a minion who's kind of in the same path as everybody else on the side of evil, but he has the ability to change because he I wouldn't say he has it in him, but somebody has shown it to him and he's willing to accept it. Whereas the villain, you know, he's presented with the same opportunity, and because he doesn't want to change, he doesn't go for it. I think choice really becomes a big factor in change.
and you know what I also love about the fact about part two? We're talking about everything else other than the fact that Hiccup Stoic died. Like I remember watching
Oh.
part two for the first time, and I'm like, holy shit! They literally killed off such a
Bro.
central character to like the entirety of the
You want to know the
story.
funny
I'm
thing?
like, y'all niggas don't pull punches.
Mm.
Kudos.
Funny thing is that whilst you guys are talking about all of this change and all these things, I'm like, oh, that did not occur to me. I, I was honestly so stuck on this thing
For
being a
real.
coming of age movie that everything that wasn't Hiccup was unimportant to me.
Really?
Like my
That's
context of this, my
crazy.
context of this thing was more of like as this coming of age story. How to Train Your Dragon 1 is about being accepted by the tribe. How to Train Your Dragon 2 is about accepting the responsibilities that come with being a member of the tribe.
Yeah.
And
Deep.
How to Train Your Dragon 3 is basically losing your boys once they get bitches. So all that just went through
Facts,
my
actually.
head.
Holy shit. Okay, no, I think you're not even wrong. All
Yeah.
of you're just
No, it's just it was
You're
a
like-
single-minded approach that just made me blind to everything else.
okay. I see where you're coming from, but that's what I'm trying to say is that was the meta arc. Most of these films are coming of age stories in one way or form, and they're either before or after that as well. You know what I mean? But as I was watching the film, I actually I found this in the pieces of the relationships between certain people. I stopped
Yeah,
looking at it
yeah.
as just human beings. I also started looking at it as dragons because it was also a coming of age story for Toothless for sure. Man became a fucking alpha. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like the journey of how all of this came there, like I felt like I appreciated the fact that they took a more societal approach to certain things. A lot of movies are just happy with talking about that meta arc and say, hey, our main character is going through A, B, C. But it takes another deeper appreciation of a film to say, oh, in the relationships between certain people, an aggregate will experience certain problems and how they adapt to that problems and change for that.
Exactly.
That's something that's also pretty interesting. And I really feel like they did that impeccably well with this trilogy.
It's pretty layered.
Impeccably well.
It's very layered, dog.
It is. It's a fucking onion for sure, bro.
So Phil,
For sure.
you are always incontestant to the fact that the second sequel, the sequel to the first film of any franchise, is not perfect.
No, that was only the case with the MCU.
Oh, that's only the case with the MCU. But here it's
Yeah.
here you think they did a good job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, it's not just here, bro. Like, look at Shrek Part 2. I fucking love Shrek Part 2, nigga. It was hard as hell.
Yeah.
So can we talk about the
And-
relationship between Hiccup and his mom? So
Deep. Oh shit. Now you've mentioned that his mom. I realized something while I was watching that film.
huh.
There's a part of me that thinks she's gay, bro. Like facts actually. Yeah, cause like when Hiccup came in and he was like, "Oh hey, mom, what's good?" Like, "Oh, we're like you're alive." That's
Huh.
crazy. If you look into her eyes, throughout the point between when when she first meets Hiccup and when the dad dies, in her eyes you could see her resisting change because even Stoic would
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
how, oh hey, we can go back to the village and what this and that. So it was not just the villain who was resisting change; it was her too. She loved staying with the dragons, and there was a part of her that really didn't want to go back to that life of being a Viking. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so when she first encounters Hiccup and realizes, damn, this nigga's a dragon nigga. Okay, we can drag her around all over the place, you know what I mean? And then Hiccup disappoints her to say, hey, I'm not all the way a dragon person. I am also the chief's son.
Yeah.
And I feel like the same thing that we had in part one, where Stoic had to come to terms with the fact that this is a guy who's a Viking, but he has a soul of a dragon. The
Yeah.
mom now had to come to the terms to say, hey, this guy's the soul of a dragon,
But
is actually still a Viking. You know what I mean? So she tried to reach out to Hiccup and she got kind of an acceptance from him in a sense, but she was also quite resistant to that. And I felt like that was subtly implied. Like that was so subtle that I didn't even catch it the first time I watched it. But this time I'm like, well damn, she did not want to move. She didn't want to move.
so how does that make her gay?
I think that makes her gay because, like, I mean, she's taking like what 20 years without dick. Stoic comes along and she's still resisting. Come on, man. Come on. You bend the other way. You bend the other. This is the only explanation. I think it makes sense.
You lost the fucking plot on that one.
Hey man.
I thought you were
Hey,
just
man.
making this thing about how it's a gay allegory.
Yeah.
Your
No,
final
no.
conclusion is that she didn't take dick for 30 years and now she's gay. That's weak.
Yeah, actually, no. I mean, like,
No,
bruh.
Hey, you were making a good fucking argument. She left the village because she couldn't be accepted within that village. Stoic was one of the things that she was finding hard to be accepted with.
Fair.
This thing
But like,
is that you made a legitimately good argument and then ruined it because she didn't take dick for
He
30
lost
years.
us, dog.
no.
You lost
Hear me
the
out.
fucking
Hear me
plot.
out. No, hear me out. If you spend 20 years without the love of your life and you haven't got any good for 20 years, and then the guy shows up and says, hey, shorty young thing was good. And you're like, I'm not really feeling this nigga.
What you mean she wasn't feeling
She
this
was
nigga?
feeling him,
Like,
bro.
she wasn't feeling this nigga.
You won't give me that dragon. So it's like facts that man's is like changed.
What
Man's
do
is
you mean
changed.
she wasn't
Everybody's
feeling
changed.
this nigga?
She wasn't feeling that.
There's the whole
Watch that
them
scene
dancing,
where-
bro. And singing the song.
That's what I'm saying. Right before them dancing. She was resisting as fuck.
Yeah, cause
She was
trauma.
resisting
She
as fuck. I
left,
don't
bro. She's been gone.
Nah.
She's scared for the fact that, like, yo, maybe things have changed so much that you and I are not recognizable with each other again.
Okay, that's deep. Okay, that's facts.
Nah, bro.
I might be stretching over there. My bad.
Honestly, I remember watching that scene for like this thing the first time on the rewatch, right?
Huh.
The scene where Stoic sees her again. In this thing, Stoic sneaks into that whole entire dragon cave, and then he's like, "Hey, Hiccup, let's bounce." What's his name? Gobber or whatever his name is. He walks out ahead of them. When he comes back, he's like, "Hey, shit about to go down." So I really want
I'm
to go
not-
down. He's like, hey, Stoic, go deal with that. The moment Stoic sees her, just does this swelling of fucking emotion as he takes his head off, and she is just gobsmacked because she's trying to make excuses, trying to explain to herself and to him about what's happening, and she's fucking terrified. Not in the sense of, oh, there's dick coming at me. She's like, hey, let's throw the fucking vest. He needs to be weak.
Bruh.
That's a man for real.
Exactly, bro.
Bruh, and like the bars, bro.
Yeah.
Man slides in is like, you're beautiful. As the day I met you, like, still the man can't be a camp, bro. He's gotta be nerfed, bro.
Yeah.
Like, my guy, bro. Ah, that was smooth as hell.
He
bro.
did not hold back.
So and that's exactly my argument. My argument is Stoic the fucking Vast, the guy with the biggest dick in the century, comes in, lays on his Mac, and you still resistant. Come on, man, you gay as hell. That's my whole argument. Because immediately after he says that shit,
You know, I agree with you that there might be hints of like allegory towards the LGBTQ community, but I don't think fully. I think it's a thing of like how you see it, you know. But I don't think it's fully there.
True. Okay, that's true. I'm not.
Can we talk about how beautiful?
Definite that she's definitely gay.
Can we talk about how beautiful? Like we're talking about this scene, right? And I want to appreciate how it's beautifully crafted, being that this is an animated film where usually most people don't have that much appreciation for it. And this, I feel like this movie is beautifully crafted in terms of emotional impact and just being able to talk about it, you know?
Honestly, facts. Because the thing is, like, usually a death scene is like, oh, hey, boo-hoo, this nigga's dead, you know, I'm so sad about it. And then they forget about it literally the next scene ever.
Exactly.
And you have to deal with the villain. You gotta figure out how to deal with the solution. You only made me cry because you wanted me to cry in a movie because you need me to have emotions inside the movie and react to it. You know what I mean? This movie was so rich in the fact that when Stoic died, man's decided, shit, I literally have to take up the mantle.
Yeah.
Not because of some hierarchy, hereditary type of, or because my father was doing this and my father before him, and so I should be, but because he felt that responsibility. The same thing that Phil mentioned before. He truly felt it in him to say, you know what? To be responsible is to go where nobody will, nobody would.
Audio problems. Abe.
Go. Where people are too afraid to change
Abe.
other people's minds or to lead. You know what I mean? He took on that who was standing in the way of his people. You know what I mean? And it was nurtured, and it was because of mantle. It was not just I'm feeling a vacuum that exists. It was more of this is something that I want to be able to take and actually do something with all over the place. The only place I feel like the movie might be lacking.
Yo, Phil.
Yeah.
Is he having the same problems from your side?
No, I can't hear him at all.
You can't hear him.
Yeah, you're not coming off.
Shit, what this? You couldn't hear me?
Nope. Not happening, unfortunately. But I guess to follow along with what you were talking about, how Hiccup decides to take up the mantle as Stoic is no longer there, right? I heard you say something about how he decides to take up the mantle not because Stoic is not there, but because he feels it within him, and I would have to disagree with you on that. I feel like it's just
Yo,
that
Phil,
whole entire. Yeah.
can you hear him?
Am I also having the same problems?
No, no, no. I'm asking if you can hear him. Is he talking?
No. Can you?
No, I can't.
Yeah. We were. I couldn't hear him, so to talk over the dead air, I was just trying to make that point of
Okay.
it's that common trope of what's it called? Basically, the death of the father, whereby for a boy to become a man, his father must no longer be in the picture.
I don't know,
That's a
man.
good
Like,
argument.
okay, let's say let's say Stoic didn't die.
Okay, you're back.
Okay. And yeah, I am back. I am back. I fixed it up. Let's say Stoic didn't die.
Yeah.
You telling me that Hiccup would not feel responsible enough to go and fight our this Dragon Master motherfucker, Dreadlock Dragon Master, Bob Marley Dragon Master. Yeah, yeah, Bob Marley Dragon Master. Right?
Drago Bloodfist.
Okay, fine, fine. Drago Bluffist, right? So I still feel like he would have still tried to confront Drago
No,
Bluff.
he was always going to fight Drago. He was always
Exactly.
He was always going to do that.
I think the
I'm
lesson.
saying that and what I'm saying is that this, if in him, without Stoic being present, he still feels responsible. He still feels in debt to his, not in debt, sorry. He still feels responsible over his people. He still wants to do something for his people. And so I'm saying that the fact that Stoic died nurtured him to say, okay, I am deeply pained, but now I should step up. But not necessarily.
Okay, you're back to dead air, and I'm just gonna say this: if Stoic didn't die, Hiccup wouldn't have been chief for another
Now,
to
I don't know if I'm
7 years.
I think it's very much a thing of.
Could you repeat it?
He's saying to repeat it, Phil.
Okay, I'm basically saying that
Yes.
if Stoic didn't die, Hiccup wouldn't have been chief for another 7 to 10 years. And it's not because Stoic was holding on to the position, because if you remember, one of the things that drove Hiccup away in the beginning of the movie, while he was out exploring all of those lands, was that Stoic was like, "Hey yo, you moving nice, kid. It's time for you to step up and be chief." And he like, nope, dipped.
True. And this is that's what I'm trying to say. Stoic's death cultured him. It made him mature even more to step up. And it was not because of the void that he left in being the chief to say, oh hey, there is no longer a chief. Somebody gotta be the chief, so I gotta be the chief. I'm saying because of his death, it made him mature to say, hey, for being the chief. Do you see where I'm coming from? I feel the need to be the chief, not because somebody else has asked me to, but because I feel it within me. And that feeling only came about because of the trauma that he experienced losing his father. That's my argument. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the thing is, and I guess my argument is that essentially Stoic did have to die for Hiccup to become chief, because honestly speaking, it feels like one of those things whereby people would say that they're in a casual relationship, but they're doing everything that they would do within an exclusive relationship. They just don't want it to be labeled as such because of the connotations behind it. Hiccup was already acting like the chief for years. I'm not sure if you've watched this thing. If you watch this TV series that accompanied it, yeah,
I have. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's basically that thing of the way Hiccup sees it. He fulfills everything a chief must do except for being there with his people at all times and being available to them. He feels like the moment he becomes chief, he can no longer go to uninhabited lands and try to discover them. He has to be there for everybody in Berk. That is the thing that he's fighting, his responsibilities. He has no problem.
Yeah.
It's just the moment he becomes
That's true.
he's tied down to it. Okay, this is kind of a
And
weird
we're all
tangent.
afraid of that, let's be honest.
This is a weird tangent, but it just came up into my mind. Do you remember a show called
Okay.
Juniper Lee?
Fuck yeah.
A show called what?
Yeah, Juniper Lee.
Juniper
The
Lady, bro.
lifetime
She sees monsters that nobody else can.
No.
Dragon Lady. I mean, Dragonfly Lady. You don't remember Juniper
I
Lee?
have not watched
That's
it.
crazy, cheesy.
I so
That's
basically,
crazy.
you remember the character of Amar, right? The
Shit,
grandmother.
okay, I
right?
might not remember him. Okay, continue. Uh-huh.
So basically, the reason why the grandmother, who used to be the chosen one type warrior, is always traveling and is never really abound, is because when she was chosen as a protector or whatever, there was this dome and barrier that was set upon her that made it impossible for her to travel. So basically, Juniper Lee
Basically.
was stuck in that whole entire dome for years. I don't know how I was trying to link
I think
it, but
the reason why I
basically,
don't remember too
you
much
get
of
what
that
I'm
is because I
trying to
didn't
say
go.
about this whole entire chiefdom thing.
No, continue. Sorry about that.
You get what I'm trying to say about this whole entire chiefdom thing. With that responsibility comes
Absolutely,
chains and
I actually agree with you. In fact, that insight is pretty beautiful because a lot of the coming of age stories, I mean, save for maybe a Spider-Man, is like you can't live like you can get your responsibility. I mean, sorry, you get the freedom of becoming an adult, but you don't live with the responsibility. That's kind of the allure of most movies. It's like, oh hey, I want to be an adult, I want to be free, I want to do whatever I want. You know what I mean? And then they talk about the consequences of the actions of becoming an adult. But nobody really addresses the fact that when you become an adult, when you become somebody who is a part of society, you get tied down by the burdens of society. I gotta pay my rent, I gotta take care of my kids, I gotta do A, B, C, and I can't move as freely and as nimbly as I can. There's now this added weight to my existence now. There's momentum that I've carried. And that was kind of portrayed in an implicit way as well. And we all need to kind of learn in that regard to say, hey, there will be this weight that every one of us will experience, and especially us, like 23-year-olds, 22-year-olds, we're young adults, we're trying to figure out who we
we're
are, and we're in a
25.
position where we're still nimble, very, yeah, no, fair. But like pretty soon we're gonna get to a point where we now will have baggage, and that baggage makes it difficult for us to do whatever it is that we want.
Honestly, dog, whenever I think about my age, I just think it's fucking scary that 10 years ago, a full decade ago, my favorite pickup line to use was, "What's the homework?"
Oh, holy shit! Actually,
Yeah.
that would work. You get her to talk to be like, oh hey, oh yeah, I might as well tell this nigga because he doesn't like me. Holy shit!
10
That's a
years removed
move.
from that.
And I was actually
And it's just a big
wasting my goddamn.
I think one of the funniest times I ever used that pickup line was that whole entire semester where I got detention every single day. And at one point when I asked a girl that, and she was like, "What's the point? You're not going to do it."
Like nigga, stop playing.
Yeah. she saw through his game plan. She was like, nah, not today.
Holy shit.
Yes. So what do you guys think about the casting in terms of character wise? Stoic as Gerald Butler, and then everybody else. Do you think they did a good job?
Honestly, I don't know. Phil should probably take this one because I'm not really particular about the voice acting. Because once somebody voice acts a certain character, I just imagine that character as that character. Like I don't
But do
even
you think
know
they
if the
put-
other people who's speaking behind the mic.
Do you think they portrayed character and emotion to the full potential.
I personally don't know what makes a good actor.
Voice actor
No,
or
no, no.
actor in general.
Voice actors. Sometimes the voice actors that get you to feel the emotion of it. Sometimes that gets me. Other times, it's just a neutral thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen some clips where a person will be like, "Oh, this acting is so fucking horrible," and then in my mind, I'm like, "Really?
It's
I
okay.
don't see it."
Bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the only time I would probably argue whether a voice acting happens A or B is if we have a situation where there is context, sorry, where there's material to judge them by. I feel like that's the space of places like anime, because in anime you would have light novels, you would have the manga, and then the animation comes out. So you have two other references and ideas and maybe portrayals of how it is that the writer, the mangaka, would create it, and also your own vision of how the voices were portrayed or the emotion that was portrayed based on how you felt and experienced the media. So in that situation, I can then come in and say Eren Yeager from AOT, the anime, really did a pretty good job, and I fucking hate how this other person did ABC. So in that regard, sure. But if it's just a standalone movie and like it's just the way it is, and you've never experienced that character outside of the other, outside of the voice actor itself, they're married. They're literally the same person. So I can't come in and say that's terrible. Yeah.
How far are you guys in Invincible?
Season
Someone, I
2.
just downloaded season two. 4 episodes. I have the 4 episodes, but I'm not watching them yet.
Yeah.
I want them to pile, and I'm gonna binge. That's me.
I
You up to date? Why
It's
are you doing this
beautiful,
to yourself?
bro.
No, I didn't watch it.
The,
Okay, cool.
the
Why'd you
full
mention it
series.
then? What the fuck?
No, what's it called? No, is it 8? The thing is, I already
Okay.
watched it all, my friend.
Oh, okay.
What do you
okay.
mean?
Oh,
You
the
watched
comic.
all?
You've read the comic.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Okay. All right. Bet.
I was about to say this thing about how even though I don't know what makes a good voice actor, there are times where I see a character and I'm like, that's not the voice I thought you would sound. That's not how I thought you would sound like.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I remember seeing a clip of Invincible, right? And there's this character, General Craig, and I was just fucking surprised that they got Clancy Brown to voice him.
Okay.
Who does he play?
Clancy, huh?
General who?
Craig.
Which character is that
I
one?
don't know if it's Craig.
I don't think he's the old guy. He's the oldest of them all, right?
No,
He's
no,
probably
no,
the
No,
no.
oldest,
that
right?
would be
No.
Conquest.
Okay, never mind then. I don't know shit about shit.
Alright. So basically, Clancy Brown is one of those guys who play these bombastic, larger than life characters. I mean, like,
Mr.
even though
Krabs.
there's like Mr. Krabs in his in this thing, in his list of accolades, he's usually voicing characters like what's his name? Characters like I'm drawing a blank, and I was just about to say what
Money.
was.
All you got is Mr. Krabs, bro.
Anyway, I think Clancy Brown voices Lex Luthor in the Justice League
Yeah,
animated shows.
yeah.
Hey,
Oh, for real? That's tough. Okay.
so like, I feel like him, Clancy Brown, and there's that other black guy that I'm forgetting, Michael D. Clark or something like that. No, not Michael Clark Duncan, not that guy. A different guy. Anyway, him, Clancy Brown, and Raul Perlman sound like they'll play these larger than life characters that are just bombastic and almost take up space in a room. And Craig was never a character that sounded like he could do that. So when I heard of him being voiced by Clancy Brown, I was like, that can't be the voice, dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But like, for me, I'm sitting with a place with like zero reference. Like I said, I told you, like it only makes sense for you to have an impression of what somebody should sound like, basically based on if you have material to like reference it from. If you don't have material, it doesn't happen. It can't happen in How to Train Your Dragon 2. You can't think of a different version of how the Prince of Egypt is gonna sound. You can't find a different version of Harry. Okay, Harry Potter the book came out, so yeah, you definitely can have an impression on that one. But the two are so synonymous and well done together that I don't know. It's hard to look any other way different. But yeah, I stand by my stance.
Can we also talk about how characterization of the dragons? I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I watched a video where somebody was saying
Okay.
the How to Train Your Dragon dragons are pretty distinguishable from each other, and in terms of like category, appearances, and color, right? Whereas compared to other shows, maybe let's say live action shows, he brought up Game of Thrones, saying that in Game of Thrones you can't really tell the difference between the first three dragons that are ever shown in the show. So I'd really like to take the
That is
time
true, but
to appreciate how within How to Train Your Dragons, there's very much a thought out plan of like, okay, if a water dragon coming from this certain place was going to have to look like this, you know, a fire dragon, which obviously lives within mountains or within a volcano, would look like this. Certain details like that, kind of like,
I
yeah.
I feel like that is pretty dope. I love how diverse of species there are as dragons, but I feel like that's more indicative of the world that they live in. And I don't know if it's correct to punish other shows for not having diverse dragons. This show went in and said we will have as diverse dragons as possible. And so to have that, you need to make them distinguishable.
Honestly, it's more or less a thing of the dragons just being dogs. Different breeds of dogs.
That is so true.
German shepherds.
No, he's right. He's
Rottweilers.
right. Like he's absolutely correct. Like I was actually about to jump into that. To say that the dragons have different personalities,
Yeah.
that one as well, I'll give them thumbs up. Because it's so easy for you to say, oh hey, this is just a breed of dragon, so it's just a breed of dog. You know what I mean? So they could have stuck with that, but in certain situations, you can see two dragons of the same species having slightly different characters. In
Exactly.
a sense, it's happened because I know we've seen we've seen two different versions of the dragon that this nigga is it Snufflout? No, it's not Snufflout. The guy who has dark hair, horns on his helmet, he's a bit short.
Oh.
And he rides the red dragon.
Yeah,
He rides
that
the
guy.
red dragon. Yeah, exactly. Snufflout. Yeah. So that dragon and the dragon that was there where the mom was when what's his thing? Hiccup was first encountering the mom inside the cave. They gave me a slightly different feel.
Yeah.
A slightly different feel.
Yeah.
So there is a definite personality to every dragon. And in fact, I think it does an extremely good job in part 3. That is actually brought out a whole lot more to say, hey, dragons have their own personality and stuff like that. But yeah, it's How to Train Your Dragons, bro. There is a lot of dragons. So if they didn't flesh out that, I'll honestly be too disappointed. I'll be too disappointed in the film.
Thanks. So should we segue into How to Train Your Dragon 3?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. So, Phil, what's your take on How to Train Your Dragon 3? Which came out in
19.
19. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty recent. What the fuck?
Bro.
Yeah. Dog, that was just butthurt through the entire thing, dog.
Because?
Really? Why?
He was gonna lose Toothless, dog.
Oh. Hey.
The moment his boy got a girlfriend, he just realized, hey, time is up, dog. It's over for us. And that just personally hurt me. Because it was just that sense of dread, dog.
And
In my
then
mind, it's
It's
like
just the thing that you have to combat with having male friends is that inevitably they'll get girls, and when they get girls, they'll just disappear from your life like you never even mattered.
uh-huh. So for you
damn.
it was personal. For you
That
it was personal.
like right in the field.
Bro
God damn.
bro took that to chest.
God damn. Okay. He took that to chess, bro. I get that actually. I never saw it that way. In my mind, I was just the like finally Hiccup's getting sorry, not Hiccup. Finally Toothless is getting some. Like that was literally just my takeaway from the film. I was just like, hey man, man's is literally the only what's this thing?
Night Fury.
Nightwing. Like Night Fury, yeah, Ari Nightwing. He's the only Night Fury out there. Like they should populate. They should
Wait. Let me ask you a question. Wow, what's the white one called? Because I remember there was this joke about him trying to name it. Did he end up naming it a Light Fury or a
Yeah, Light Fury.
what?
Are
What
you
was
sure?
the other thing he was about to name it?
Bro is tired.
don't know species.
Alright. Anyway,
I didn't
like,
watch. I the last time I watched what was this thing part 3 was not too long ago, but like the movie doesn't feel super apparent because for me it was one of those movies that closed the trilogy perfectly. You know, it covered, it drew the curtains. You know what I mean? So I don't have takeaways from it that are too strong. I love the movie, but like I loved it because it was closing, and so I'm praying to God that they don't bring a fourth one because that would hurt my soul.
instead of making a fourth one, they decided to make a modern day series about it.
Oh yeah.
You mean the kid one? The kid show?
Yeah, that
or
one.
like yeah, that one is okay. Yeah, it's a light.
You watched
Fury.
it.
No,
Oh, he tried to name it Bright Fury. Oh, okay.
no.
Okay, he tried to name it Bright.
The thing I was talking about is like, am I the one who finds it weird? Like sometimes there's this kind of joke where it's like this is bad, and I fail to realize how bad it is.
Okay,
Example.
I'm basically trying to
Google
say,
reference?
basically the
Okay.
whole entire joke was that the whole entire joke, it was like a 5 second thing. It was just a joke about how Hiccup's name was going to be fucking terrible, but somehow Light Fury is better. And then I remember the other option not even being that fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that the joke was like, oh no, that's a bad fucking name. I was like, what's though?
Was it though? Like, bro, come on.
It's kind of like that line from Storm that people shit on in like the first X-Men where she's up against Toad and she's like, you want to know what happens to a frog when it gets struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else. I heard that line. I was like, oh shit, that shit is badass. And then I went online and people were dogging Hallie for it.
Wow. Okay, I see where you're coming from now.
Are
Yeah,
the
no.
same thing as
Hiccup tried to name
everything
it
else.
a Bright Fury. And like, I see where you're coming from. I think that one is more like an argument for humor. People have different humors. Some things hit, some things don't hit. And I feel like by pointing that out, Phil, you actually have like some beautiful insight because you're basically saying even within the world of the movie, they are different levels of humor, and some things are acceptable and not acceptable. And I feel like that makes the movie a lot more humane or more realistic in that sense. That's if that's what you're saying, Phil. That's tough as hell. I did not see that.
Can somebody
It was
remind?
just that thing of like I didn't mind him calling it a Bright Fury. So when they made that joke of it being a bad day, they were basically saying you have no taste.
Basically.
Hey. So it was just a little petty beef started by petty beef.
So Abe,
And then the name
what's your
stuck.
take on
Right.
the third film in the trilogy?
I think I actually did make a little bit of my statement to say
Oh, okay.
I think it was a very good closing of the film. It was like it was a perfect curtain show, and I love the ending, like the absolute ending. The absolute ending when what's this thing? Hiccup and Astrid got their kids and they're doing their own thing, and also what's this thing? Toothless and whatever the fuck her name is, they were doing their own thing, and then they re-meet each other. for me, that was kind of like, oh, hey, this is so dope. We're reunited. But you could smell that they were not saying, oh, a fourth movie is coming. You know what I mean? They were just saying, hey, let's just give you something to talk about. You know, let's give you a little bit of a sweet. You know, it's not all the way over. You know what I mean? But you could tell that no, we're
It's
done.
over.
You know what
Yeah, it's over.
I mean?
I pretty much agree with both your points, but I want to bring this up where I don't know if you guys felt the same way of like the movie is basically a repetition of what happened within the first two films. The villain is almost
Okay, how so?
insanely identical. The points that are being brought forth.
To Drago Bloodfist.
Yeah.
Basically, this guy who's here to tame all the dragons.
Yeah.
So he's trying to tame the dragons? I thought he was trying to kill all the dragons.
No, wasn't he trying to make war dragons?
No, that's Drago. Drago was trying to make war dragons. The other motherfucker, I forgot his name, was trying to execute them.
But like there's
Which
like
almost basically means the same thing in my point of view, because one is taking them to the ground, the other one is taking them to use them as puppets.
True. And you have to also remember that Drago Bloodfist's whole rhetoric, his whole political campaign was that, oh, hey, dragons will burn us to the ground. We might as well take advantage of them.
Exactly.
And then the other nigga's like, nah, let's just kill him. Let's just kill him straight. Okay, so the villains were super identical. That's cool. So you're thinking that the villain was more like a plot point, a story device, so that there's at least some tension in the film while things were dissipating.
I don't know. For me, from my perspective, it was very much a thing of like the difference between the first film's antagonist and the second film's antagonist is very much apparent, being that however you see it, Stoic was very much the antagonist of the first film, right?
Deep.
And
I see that actually.
Yeah. The second one, even if like the third act is a whole, yeah, we have to fight a dragon at the end. The second one is the villain very much, they created something brand new. They created a different direction for the series to go in, where they bring in a secondary character who is the same as Hiccup, but his ideals kind of lean him towards a more dangerous path, right? So the differences between villain A and villain B are very much apparent. But when you come to part 3, it's like when you're weighing it, they're kind of similar between Drago and the third guy.
I feel like this is the problem of discussing How to Train Your Dragon 3. Like I said, because it was such a perfect curtain, it's so forgettable. We're trying to talk about something that we barely remember. None of us actually watched. I didn't know that we were going to talk about part 3, bro. I had no idea. Otherwise, I would have been prepped. I knew damn well I was not going to remember shit about that movie, bro. Like, damn. Like, it was really good. All I remember was I really enjoyed it, and I appreciated that they closed. So if you tell me, okay, let's break down how the villain interacted and changed Hiccup, I don't see Hiccup changing too much from where he left off in part 2. The only people I see who changed were maybe the dragons. The dragons themselves had to now encounter different problems, and it stopped becoming more of a human problem. Hiccup was maybe an aid at most to all of this. But how do you relate with dragons who don't speak? You know what I mean? And so you could probably remember that it was a good feel, because that's all dragons do. They project feeling and they project emotion and stuff. But there's not too much to work with when there's not a lot of conversation that's been had. Okay. So I would love to attribute the third movie to Toothless. Outside of that, I don't know if I can say too much about like the material of it all.
Okay, so
it was something one of you brought up earlier about how in the second film it felt like Toothless was going on the same journey that Hiccup went through on the second one, on the first one.
True.
So I was thinking, is it maybe also a thing of within the third one, Hiccup is going on Toothless is going on the journey that Hiccup went on in 2. Basically, that accepted by the tribe and the responsibilities of being accepted by the tribe. by becoming by
Yeah.
becoming alpha, Toothless didn't necessarily become chief. He was just accepted into the tribe,
Yeah.
and by three, he takes on the responsibility of being the alpha dragon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the
Mm-hmm.
whole
Yeah,
responsibility
exactly.
of Hiccup has Astrid, so Toothless has to have.
Mm.
And I think poignantly at the end,
His own.
you see that Astrid and Hiccup have kids of their own. Also, Hiccup and the bright light fury, the white
Yeah.
dragon.
Life Fury. Oh my Jesus. But like in my mind, I never understood why Toothless forgot Hiccup. Because when they first like that last
Yeah,
scene,
yeah,
Hiccup didn't look sorry, Toothless didn't look like he recognizes Hiccup. And I'm
yeah.
like, dragons have impeccable smell. He could have smelt Hiccup like a mile away, showed up and be like, my nigga was good.
Yeah, but
I
Instead,
it's
he's
think,
the
like,
thing
bruh,
of it's been
bruh,
years, big dog. It's
yeah,
been years, big dog.
I think it goes back to the thing what
nah,
Phil was
nigga,
saying of
you're
like when you finally you get a girl, you forget your niggas. I think it was very much a thing of like
and I
territorial. We haven't seen each other in a long
Nah,
time.
nah, nah, that was just more of a mimetic joke. It wasn't
Hey,
actual serious
I'm
analysis, dog.
I'm relating to what you're saying to like make my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, uh-huh.
So I think it was very much a thing of like
No, the thing is, uh-huh.
a territorial thing of
Hey,
I've been with my family for so long that I've forgotten everything else.
yeah,
I
and it
get
took
that
him like
from a
30 fucking seconds for him to say, oh, no, no, no,
Yeah.
this is my nigga. God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah. No, but that's exactly my point. What I'm saying from a thematic perspective, it makes perfect sense. I would have disagreed with it from the beginning. I said I loved that snippet. But I'm talking about now the more pragmatic side of things,
Oh, okay.
the more
Logically.
realistic type of things. It's a
Oh,
dragon.
hey, come on.
Like, bruh, if you leave your dog out, it should know.
No, no,
Like,
but like
bruh,
think about it like this:
10
10
years,
years,
blood.
10
nigga's been
years have
on my
passed,
back.
10
bro.
years, blood. 10 years.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Let's say it got lost in the streets, huh?
Unless you're telling me, because like,
Some random guy picks it up, he takes it home, he
yeah,
starts to care for it. 10 years later, you're like, oh my god, I
yeah,
see this post on
yeah, yeah,
Facebook. Can I come see my dog? It's my dog. Can I come get
yeah,
it? You come there, you're telling me there's not gonna be that certain
yeah.
hesitation from your dog.
Bro, I'm thinking there is no, because the thing is, I actually had an experience where one of my dogs, I don't know if you remember Angel, right? She was not our dog to begin with. She just started living with us because I apparently married one of my dogs. You know what I mean? Rex started visiting, fucking with Angel. That's just the reality of the situation. We were walking the streets one day, then all of a sudden she gets all jittery and excited, right? She runs across the street really quick. And we're like, what the fuck?
Huh.
And then this guy's like, oh my god. And then he calls Angel by like a different ass name. And
Huh.
I'm like, holy shit. Is this the previous owner? And it was like, and it was genuine. And he was like, oh, hey, I actually lost my dog like a couple of like months ago. What, this and that. Is this, I don't know if this is my dog or not. And I was like, we don't know. She just started living with us. And it
Huh.
was uncanny because the timing of when she left the owner and came to us was exactly the same.
Oh,
Literally
okay,
the same.
okay.
So in my mind, I guess it left an impression to me. Dogs, they're not visual animals. They don't know these things by visual. They do things by smell. And I'm thinking dragons do things by smell as well. If you smell your homie, there is nobody who will smell like that homie. It don't matter if it's 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, bro. They will smell the same.
So
Just
can
those
I ask,
unique
did the
identities.
guy end up
That's
taking?
where I start fighting. That's where I start fighting.
No, no, can I
Because
ask?
you're
Can I
trying
ask?
to-
Can I ask? So did the guy take the dog?
He didn't take the dog. It was like she walked with him for a while. He petted her and what. After that, she went back to us and we kept walking, bro. But it left an impression for me, bro. I'll never forget that day, bro. I'll never forget that. That was surreal, my nigga.
Hey.
But Phil was trying to disagree with him. Let's put like
10 years
boxing gloves on.
is a long fucking time.
Yeah, I have to go with Phil on this one.
Honestly, like
I don't know.
I got nephews and I'm at the age where my nephews and nieces are fucking babies right now, and there's this instance of I can go months without seeing them, but the moment they see me, we repeat the same patterns that we used to do months back. And I'm thinking to myself, because this is a legitimate possibility. How many times when you walk down the street and you meet and you're with your parents and then somebody's like, "Oh, I used to know you when you were this little." These motherfuckers have these memories of when you used to fuck with them heavy.
Yeah.
But you completely and utterly forgot them because they were so fucking long in your mind. I feel like the same thing happened with Toothless.
Yeah.
It was 10 years, Abe.
Exactly.
No, but like
Hiccup turned into a fucking DILF by
Bro
that point.
came back with a whole beard and everything.
Facts.
So that was a very long
No,
time.
but like, okay, I maybe let me not fight.
So-
from my perspective, the alpha olfactory parts of the brain retain memories better than visual. So if you tell me they look different because it's 10 years, that is fine. That is cool. I understand that. But we're talking about smells, bro. Smells, they last. They stay in
Do you
these
guys-
dishes.
do
But
you
like,
guys
okay,
think
though,
that-
I'ma leave you?
Do you guys think that the fact that Toothless is black and the Bright Fury is white has anything to do about interracial couples?
I calm down, Dr. Umar.
Jesus Christ.
That's a fucking
Come on, nigga. Bro, it don't need to be that much.
This
bro.
movie
You
is
don't gotta
woke.
stress
It's
that.
too
Like, we're talking
woke.
about dragons here.
This movie is too woke for its own good.
Nigga. It's like, oh, hey, if we had a black dog and then we had a white dog, it's not like,
but
you know,
what I want to
interracial.
know is where are the other Night Furies? Who
Actually, that is.
was one of the people
One day,
who walks
Hunter
around
got the
as one of
distinction.
the clans who walks around as the slayers of the Night Fury?
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
want to know.
So are they
It would have been a
completely
good
wiped
top
off?
four if you wanted.
Nah, it's just a thing of like when we were first introduced to the Night Furies, every other dragon was like, "Hey yo, if you encounter this nigga, this is how you box him." But when it came to the Night Fury, it was
True.
like, "Hey, bruh, this is death."
That's it.
Hey, don't even
It
try.
moves like a thunderclap. It cannot be seen at night. It will rain death upon you. Run.
What is-
Like, there is no escape.
Exactly. But the fact that there are no other Night Furies around means that I don't think it was a one person. I think it was a legitimate mission of a clan that was like, we are wiping these motherfuckers out.
Yeah.
So basically, there's this
Maybe.
clan walking around with that Godslayer feat of taking out all the other Night Furies. I wish we could have seen more of that clan.
Mm-hmm.
There's two possibilities. You are absolutely right, or Night Furies belong to a different region entirely, and they only minutely like travel or migrate to different places and stuff like that. Or the third possibility is they just don't have that much of a high spawn rate. Like they have kids every
Oh yeah.
20 years
Yeah.
or something like that. You know what I mean? So I love where you're going at it. It would make for a good story, but like I wouldn't agree and say that is definitely the case that they were hunted out. Because look at like Dragon Riders is only something that happened of recent, and that's because people have been. Let's be honest. The only reason why Hiccup is the way he is because he had information to work with. Imagine if dragons just showed up in our world today. I swear to God, none of us gonna be riding them dragons for shit because we wouldn't know how to deal with them. Like we wouldn't know how to know that, oh hey, this particular dragon's gonna spit fire in this way and it's got this level of regression and stuff like that. Hiccup was raised with that knowledge, and that kind of armed him with a way to communicate because he understood them to some degree. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know if there's a tribe out there. It could just be spawn rate, right?
Spot rate or a disease that just kills them more frequently.
Oh yeah. That's even probability number 4, if not 5. Yeah.
Away guys, I
Well,
appreciate.
I still prefer the headcanon of a clan walking around with that Godslayer feat.
That would no, obviously. That's what I'm saying. It's an amazing type of story. Imagine just all of them. They're just badass. They just kill dragons in their sleep. What would that even look like?
I
Imagine
appreciate
they
the
invent
time.
guns. I mean, what dragon's gonna survive guns, bro?
Guns. I appreciate the
Yeah,
time
no, I
you
feel
guys
like
have
that's too
given
strong.
us. I feel like this is the shortest episode that we've done, huh?
Really?
I think so, yeah. So, situation is, this episode will be coming out probably the first Saturday of January. So I'm thinking of like making the 1 hour film discussions. Actually, I'm thinking of making the film discussions the first episode of every month, and then sprinkle 1 or 2 videos between those.
Okay, we can do
Yeah.
that.
So
You're trying to stockpile, right?
yeah. So I appreciate the time given us,
Okay.
given guys. Thank you. See you guys next time.
Arrivederci. It's a pleasure.